Hi everybody, it's Katie with BlueNotary, and today what I wanted to go over is the checklist. So I made up a checklist for myself of things that I did every single time, and then I put it onto an article just in case you had any questions, and then you can also print it out and put it on your wall like I did if you would like. So I'll link where to get the checklist in the description box below. But it's just general guidelines. This is just something that worked for me. And then, you can always make your own checklist depending on what works for you. So step number one for me is to greet the customer. So if it is someone that pops into the chat, and I would just say, hi, it's Katie, so glad that you could be here, and then just kind of do some chit chat while I'm looking over the document. So the second one is look over the document. If it's a notary source transaction, usually what you would do is have the document and then, pre-tag it and do it already. But I do know that some notaries do it where they have the clients upload it during the beginning process. Or if you're doing a notary source transaction, you would not be able to know what the document is before you accept the open call. So you 100% have BlueNotary's permission to look over the document. It's not going to be, the signers are not going to think that you are automatically going to just bam, bam, bam out everything. You have time to get your bearings and kind of look over everything. They would rather have you do it correctly than quickly. So look over the document, and then next step is identify the customers. So you want to obviously make sure that who you have in front of you is who is on the ID. And then also one step further is make sure that all of the names match in the document itself. So that is something that you want to just double check. I know some states have a little bit of extra requirements as far as what you would have to verbally say or have the clients verbally say. So just kind of look into if there's any additional things that you would have to do to be able to identify your signers. So that is step number 3. Step number 4 is if you are doing something for a third party. So if it's for a law firm or it's for a title company, check with them. But for the most part, they usually want you to save the ID. So we have a different article about how to save the ID, but basically you would just go on to the drop down, look at the ID, and then right click and save. So that way I always save it with their last name and then just ID. And obviously you as the notary want to make sure that you are being very, very careful with this sensitive information of the customer. So, look into making sure that everything is secure when you are sending and saving these types of documents and identification. So that is step, I believe, 4 or 5. The next one is following the script. So we have our own script for BlueNotary of the things that you would commonly have to ask. If you have state-specific things, feel free to go ahead and add it into the script or make your own, but basically go through the script of the things that you would need to ask. So, let them know that this is being recorded, ask if it's okay, make sure that they're doing everything under their own free will. You want to make sure that everything is above board and that they understand the contents of the document that they're about to sign. So make sure that you are asking all of the questions. I do know that in certain states, if there are certain types of documentation, you have to ask additional questions depending on the type of the document. So you as a notary, that's your job to make sure that you are asking the correct questions to make sure that everything is legal. The next thing is fill out the blanks. Now I want to be very clear with this. So filling out the blanks means if there is a date of the date that you signed it, you can fill it out. If there is something that you would have to make a decision for, or you're not quite sure, how to fill this out, the signer would have to let you know. So if they ask for the passport, parental consent, you don't want to make that decision for them of what kind of document that they want. So the signers are providing the information, but you are making sure that there are no blanks. So you have to be a little bit careful. You do not want to give legal advice as a notary. It's just not something that you can do. So just be very, very careful, but that's pretty much what I mean. If you're not sure, about what that means, you can go ahead and look at your state guidelines that just kind of outline like your role as the notary. So the other thing is that once you have gone through that, make sure that there's no blank document, blank information. Oh, another example of making sure that you are staying within your role as a notary. If there's something like a durable power of attorney or like a limited power of attorney, and they ask you how to fill that out, you cannot advise that. That's their own decisions of, if the person that is filling that out can make decisions for just medical or, for their children. So it's just, you can't advise that. So just make sure that the signer gives that information to you or has, have them fill it out. So just be very careful with that. After that, you would have the client sign. So usually I would give them a little bit of rundown. You're going to see a box, go ahead and click on it. You're going to either type, upload, or sign. Usually I let them know that it's easier to type, but it is up to them. So usually most customers do not have an upload, like a example of their signature. So they are either typing or drawing it. So that is kind of a little bit of a spiel that I give to them just in case they've never seen it before. They kind of know what to do, and then just to apply it to the document itself. The next thing is for you to place your stamp and actually notarize the document. So on the block, you would go ahead and fill out any relevant information like the venue and the date, your commission, anything else that your state requires you to be able to have everything be valid. You want to make sure that you're doing that. And then place your signature and then the seal in a spot that makes sense, whether it's indicated by the document or you want to make sure that it is by the notary block in a place that makes sense and is not covering any other information. You always want to follow your state guidelines for that, but you don't want it to cover anything important. After that, you would go ahead and finish the script. So when I am about to be done, I let them know, okay, that's perfect. Everything is all set. I'm just going to look over the document, and I invite you to as well, just to make sure that there are no blanks. I'm not missing anything. And then all the signatures are filled out. So I take a couple minutes to go through everything, and then afterwards I finalize everything. So before I finalize it, I ask, we went through the document. This is basically our last chance. I say it a little bit different, but basically our last chance before we finalize the document to make any changes. If you have any questions or you have anything that you want to change, let me know now, because after we finalize it, we can't do any changes. So once they say no, everything is perfect, I go ahead and finalize the document, let them know that I will send it.